Hi, everyone. Obviously, I am not here today. It is Rosh Hashanah, but I wanted to give you a little bit of information so that you can kind of stay on track. So, obviously, as it says there, I'm not here. So, please go ahead and open the digital version of the study guide. You'll see it on Canvas. Today and this week, really, we're going to learn about specific events that caused the Civil War. So, I'm going to talk just through a little bit of it, and then I'll give you, obviously, the rest of the period to work. So, what have we already done? Well, we have looked at the sectional differences between the North and the South, and we talked about King Cotton. We talked about what made cotton so important. So, expansion, sectionalism, and slavery, events leading to the Civil War. So, we've seen this picture already before, but I just wanted to sort of remind you about how the United States expanded. You see, we started with the original 13 colonies. We got sort of the Midwest, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio from Britain. And then as you just sort of look to see how we expanded, in about 1853, we had the entire continental United States. Again, we've seen this already, or at least a very similar map about how slavery expanded. And that's sort of goes hand in hand with the expansion of cotton. So these are two incredibly influential politicians from the 19th century, Henry Clay and John C. Calhoun. They had different views on slavery, but John C. Calhoun from South Carolina said, the relation now existing in the slaveholding states between the slaves and owners is, instead of an evil, a good, a positive good. We talked about this already, that there was a switch between, just sort of seeing slavery as a necessary evil and seeing it actually as a positive good, as a good thing, something that was moral, something that perhaps God intended people to, white people to put into place. William Lloyd Garrison, who we talked about when we did the abolitionists last week, said, I am a believer in that portion of the Declaration of American Independence in which it is set forth, as among self-evident truths, that all men are created equal. They are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Hence, I am an abolitionist. Really, there's not a way to reconcile the position of John C. Calhoun with the position of people like William Lloyd Garrison. You just can't do it. And so I'm not going to read this out loud. You have this Google slide presentation, but this is the 3630 line, which is a line that kind of goes east-west down, sort of give or take the middle of the country. The states above it would be free states. States below it would be slave states. And it was one of the first ways that the United States tried to put in place some sort of compromise to keep the country from breaking apart over the issue of slavery. So I would recommend you read this. You see the line on this slide right here. It goes straight through where Oklahoma. It goes right along the southern border of Missouri, Kentucky, and Virginia. As it says here on the side, the imaginary line leads to real consequences. It was just a made-up line. It was a way to kick the problem of slavery down the road a little bit. You see that there's still slave states above it, including Missouri, Kentucky, Virginia, Delaware, Maryland, what is going to become West Virginia. And there are free states above it too, so that line doesn't really do all that much. But it is what we call the Missouri Compromise line. The Missouri Compromise line. So it did allow Missouri as a slave state, but any future states above this line would be free. We'll see if that really ends up happening. There was a brief debate on slavery. Missouri, like I said, it would enter as a slave state. Maine, to keep it even, would enter as a free state, which makes sense because it's the northernmost state in the continental U.S. And slavery would be prohibited north of 3630. This is like 1820. So not, so long, 33 years after the Constitution. Missouri Compromise. And this is, I think, the last slide that I'm going to do today. Yeah. Thomas Jefferson, who was still alive when this was put into place, said, I considered it at once as the death knell of the Union. It is hushed indeed for the moment, but this is a reprieve only, not a final sentence. A geographical line coinciding with a marked principle, moral and political, once conceived and held up to the angry passions of men, will never be obliterated, and every new irritation will mark it deeper and deeper. Meaning this is a compromise that's allowing us to keep going right now, but it's only going to get worse. only going to get worse. And he was obviously, as we know, correct. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am reachable on email today. It is, I won't be right next to my email, but I'll be reachable. Otherwise, I will be back tomorrow to see periods, 2, 4, and 6. And other than that, have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.